Sometimes we think intelligence is something you're born with, a fixed gift that some people have and others don't. But what if I told you that your everyday habits could be slowly dimming your mental spark, stealing away your potential without you even realizing it? Intelligence isn't just about test scores or academic achievements. It's about how you interact with the world, how you process information, and how you grow every single day. Imagine your brain like a delicate garden. Every habit you nurture is like a seed you plant. Some seeds grow beautiful, vibrant flowers of understanding and insight. Others? They're weeds that slowly choke your mental landscape, making it harder to think clearly, to learn, to expand. Most people walk through life without ever examining these hidden mental gardeners, the small, seemingly innocent habits that are actually reducing their cognitive potential. The first secret habit that silently erodes your intelligence is constant digital distraction. Your smartphone, those endless social media scrolls, the perpetual notifications, they're not just harmless entertainment. They're training your brain to have the attention span of a goldfish. Every time you interrupt your focus to check a message, to scroll through another meaningless feed, you're teaching your brain to become scattered, to never dive deep into any thought or idea. Concentration is like a muscle. The more you fragment it, the weaker it becomes. Think about how our ancestors learned. They would sit for hours, observing, thinking, connecting complex ideas. They didn't have instant gratification at their fingertips. They developed patience, deep thinking, the ability to sit with a problem until a solution emerged. Modern technology has given us incredible tools, but it's also created a culture of surface-level engagement. We skim instead of read, we react instead of reflect, we consume instead of create. If these words feel like they're pulling something inside you, let yourself respond gently, perhaps with a like or a quiet moment shared below. And if this journey resonates, stay with us. Follow our channel because we're about to explore the hidden landscape of your mind, those tiny habits that can either elevate or diminish your intelligence. Another intelligence-lowering habit is the lack of sleep and proper rest. Your brain isn't a machine that can run continuously without maintenance. During sleep, your brain performs incredible maintenance work. It consolidates memories, removes toxic proteins, reorganizes neural connections. When you consistently deprive yourself of quality sleep, you're essentially running your brain's operating system with minimal updates and maximum system strain. People often wear their lack of sleep like a badge of honor. "I only need 4 hours of sleep," they boast, not realizing they're slowly degrading their cognitive abilities. Each night of poor sleep is like taking sandpaper to your brain's delicate neural networks. Your ability to learn, to be creative, to solve problems, all of these depend on giving your brain the rest it needs. But sleep isn't just about quantity. It's about quality. Those who truly understand intelligence know that rest is an active process. It's not about being unconscious. It's about allowing your brain to process, to dream, to make connections that your waking mind might miss. The most brilliant insights often come not when you're frantically working, but when you're relaxed, when your mind is allowed to wander and explore. Have you ever noticed how some of your best ideas come in the shower or just before falling asleep? That's not a coincidence. That's your brain, finally freed from constant external stimulation, making connections, solving problems, creating insights. Yet most people fill every moment with noise, podcasts, music, videos, never allowing their mind this crucial breathing space. Another subtle habit that diminishes intelligence is the refusal to embrace uncertainty and the fear of being wrong. Truly intelligent people aren't those who always have the right answer. They're those who are comfortable saying, "I don't know." They ask questions. They're curious. They see every interaction as an opportunity to learn, not to prove how much they already know. Our education system often teaches us that being wrong is a failure. But in the real world of innovation and growth, being wrong is just another step towards understanding. Every mistake is data. Every error is a lesson. The most advanced artificial intelligence learns through trial and error, and so should we. When you become rigid, when you're more concerned with appearing smart than actually becoming smarter, You close yourself off from growth. Consider how children learn. They're not afraid to ask questions. They're not paralyzed by the fear of looking stupid. They touch, they try, they fall, they get back up. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose this beautiful, natural learning mechanism. We become defensive. We protect our ego instead of expanding our understanding. The final habit we'll explore in this segment is the consumption of low-quality information. In an age of endless content, not all information is created equal. Scrolling through social media, watching mindless entertainment, consuming news designed to provoke emotional reactions rather than provide understanding, these are like junk food for your brain. They might feel momentarily satisfying, but they provide no real nutritional value for your intellect. Intelligent people are intentional about their information diet. They choose content that challenges them, that makes them think, that expands their perspective. They read books that push their boundaries. They engage with ideas different from their own. They understand that true intelligence is about breadth and depth of understanding, not just accumulation of random facts. Each piece of content you consume is like a conversation with another mind. Are you choosing conversations that elevate you, that make you think, that introduce you to new ways of seeing the world? Or are you surrounding yourself with mental fast food, quick, momentary stimulation that leaves you intellectually malnourished? Our journey into understanding intelligence continues, diving deeper into the hidden patterns that shape our mental landscape. Intelligence is not a fixed destination but a continuous path of growth, awareness, and intentional choices. What we've begun to explore are not just habits, but invisible currents that can either lift us towards our potential or slowly drag us into mental stagnation. Let's talk about another subtle habit that quietly undermines cognitive potential: the lack of physical movement and exercise. Most people think about exercise as something that just shapes the body, but it's profoundly transformative for the brain. When you move, when you challenge your physical self, you're doing much more than burning calories. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways, creating new connections, and enhancing your brain's plasticity. Imagine your brain as a complex network of roads. Physical exercise is like creating new highways, building better infrastructure for your thoughts to travel. When you exercise, you're not just strengthening muscles, you're increasing blood flow to the brain, releasing neurotrophic factors that help create new neural connections. Sitting for hours, living a sedentary lifestyle, is like letting those mental roads become overgrown and used, slowly deteriorating. If this reflection echoes something you've carried silently, you are not alone. Feel free to leave your thoughts or simply be here with us. And if you wish, subscribe and return when the path calls again. Research has consistently shown that people who engage in regular physical activity have better cognitive function, improved memory, and increased ability to learn and adapt. It's not about becoming an athlete. It's about understanding that your body and mind are deeply interconnected. A walk in nature, a dance session, a yoga practice. These are not just physical activities. They're cognitive training sessions disguised as movement. Another profound intelligence-diminishing habit is emotional suppression. Many people believe that being intelligent means being purely logical, removing emotions from the equation. But true intelligence is about emotional wisdom, the ability to understand, process, and learn from your emotional experiences. When you constantly push down your feelings, when you refuse to acknowledge the rich emotional landscape within you, you're cutting off a crucial source of information and growth. Emotions are not weaknesses. They're data points. They're messengers carrying important information about your inner world, your needs, your boundaries. The most intelligent individuals aren't those who never feel. They're those who can sit with their emotions, understand them, and use them as tools for personal development. Every feeling you experience is an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. Consider how children process emotions. They cry when they're sad, they laugh when they're happy, they express frustration when something doesn't work. Somewhere in our journey to adulthood, many of us learn to build walls, to disconnect from our emotional selves. We think this makes us stronger, more rational. but it actually makes us less intelligent, less adaptable, less human. Emotional intelligence is about recognizing patterns in yourself and in others. It's about understanding the subtle language of human experience. When you suppress your emotions, you're essentially putting blinders on, limiting your ability to read the world around you. You're reducing your capacity for empathy, for nuanced understanding, for deep connection. The habit of constant comparison is another silent intelligence killer. In our hyper-connected world, social media has turned comparison into a daily ritual. We scroll through curated lives, measuring our internal struggles against others' highlight reels. This doesn't just create unnecessary stress. It fundamentally shifts how we perceive our own potential and worth. Intelligence is not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than your previous self. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you're looking sideways instead of forward. You're spending mental energy on unproductive thoughts instead of focusing on your own growth. Each person's journey is unique, with its own rhythm, its own challenges, its own beauty. Think about the most innovative minds in history. They didn't become great by trying to be like everyone else. They became remarkable by understanding their unique perspective, by embracing their distinctive way of seeing the world. Comparison is the thief of creativity, of authenticity, of true intelligence. Mindless consumption extends beyond digital content. It includes how we consume experiences, relationships, and opportunities. Intelligent people are selective. They understand that attention is the most valuable currency. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Every moment you spend in an unfulfilling conversation, in a draining relationship, in a job that doesn't challenge you, you're trading your potential for comfortable mediocrity. Learning is not a task. It's a state of being. The most intelligent individuals maintain a childlike curiosity about the world. They ask questions. They challenge assumptions. They're not afraid to admit what they don't know. In a world that often rewards certainty, true intelligence lies in the courage to say, "I'm not sure, but I'm willing to learn." This doesn't mean being uncertain all the time. It means being open. It means understanding that knowledge is fluid, that today's absolute truth might be tomorrow's outdated concept. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you stop growing. Intelligence is about maintaining that delicate balance between confidence and humility, between knowing and always being ready to learn more. The path of intelligence is not a straight line. It's a complex, winding journey through the most intricate landscapes of human potential. We've explored how subtle habits can diminish our cognitive abilities, but now we venture into the deeper, more challenging territories of our inner world. This is where true transformation begins, in the raw, unfiltered spaces between what we know and what we're afraid to understand. Imagine your mind as a vast, unexplored territory. Most people live their entire lives on the surface, never daring to dig deeper, never confronting the layers of conditioning that shape their perceptions. The most profound intelligence emerges not from external knowledge, but from the courage to look within, to challenge the stories we've been telling ourselves, to dismantle the mental constructs that limit our growth. The human mind is a master of protection. It creates elaborate defense mechanisms, stories that keep us feeling safe, comfortable, predictable. But safety is the enemy of growth. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're slowly calcifying your potential, turning your once fluid mind into a rigid, unchanging structure. Intelligence is about fluidity, about the ability to adapt, to flow, to transform. Consider the ways you unconsciously sabotage your own potential. The self-talk that whispers limitations. The fears that disguise themselves as practical concerns. The patterns of behavior that keep you trapped in familiar but unfulfilling cycles. These are not just habits. They are walls you've constructed, brick by brick, often without even realizing it. Trauma, unprocessed experiences, childhood conditioning, these are the invisible architects of our mental landscape. They create blind spots, areas we're afraid to explore, narratives we've accepted without question. True intelligence requires the courage to look at these hidden corners, to shine a light on the parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. Think about how a computer processes information. It doesn't hold on to outdated files. It doesn't get emotional about old data. It simply updates, releases, moves forward. But humans are far more complex. We carry emotional baggage, we let past experiences color our present moment, we drag the weight of unresolved experiences like a heavy chain. The most transformative intelligence comes from learning to observe yourself without judgment. To become a curious witness to your own patterns, your own reactions. It's about creating a space between stimulus and response, understanding that you are not your thoughts, not your past, not your fears. You are the awareness that can choose, can change, can grow. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is not just a scientific concept. It's a profound metaphor for human potential. Every moment is an opportunity to create new neural pathways, to choose a different response, to step out of old patterns. But this requires something most people are afraid of: radical self-honesty. Self-honesty is not about being harsh or critical. It's about seeing yourself with compassionate clarity. It means acknowledging your patterns without getting trapped in them. It means understanding that your current way of thinking is just one possible perspective, not an immutable truth. The world often teaches us to seek external validation, to measure our worth through achievements, social media likes, others' opinions. But true intelligence is an inside job. It's about developing an internal compass, a deep trust in your own ability to learn, to adapt, to rise after falling. Failure is not the opposite of intelligence. It is intelligence in action. Every mistake is a data point, every setback a lesson waiting to be understood. The most remarkable minds in history were not those who never failed, but those who saw failure as a crucial part of the learning process. Consider the natural world. A tree doesn't resist the storm. It bends, it adapts, it finds a way to continue growing. Intelligence is about developing this kind of resilience. Not a rigid resistance, but a fluid, adaptive strength that can transform challenges into opportunities for growth. The journey of intelligence is deeply personal. It cannot be measured by standardized tests or external achievements. It's about the quality of your inner dialogue, the depth of your self-awareness, your capacity for empathy, your willingness to stay curious in a world that often rewards certainty. As we reach the depths of this exploration, we touch a profound truth. Intelligence is not something you have. It's something you cultivate moment by moment, choice by choice. It's about creating a relationship with yourself based on curiosity, compassion, and continuous growth. The most powerful intelligence is not about knowing more. It's about being more present, more aware, more connected to the subtle rhythms of your inner and outer world. It's about understanding that your mind is not a fixed entity, but a living, breathing ecosystem that responds to how you nurture it. We arrive at the final stage of our exploration, where understanding transforms into profound personal integration. Intelligence is not a destination, but a continuous journey of becoming, a dance between awareness and action, between understanding and transformation. What we've uncovered are not just habits, but doorways to a more expansive way of being. The most powerful form of intelligence is the ability to reinvent yourself, to shed the layers that no longer serve you, to step into a version of yourself that is more aware, more compassionate, more alive. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about understanding that every moment offers a fresh opportunity to choose differently, to grow, to expand. Imagine your potential as a vast, unexplored landscape. Most people live their entire lives looking at this landscape through a tiny window, believing what they see is all there is. But true intelligence is about breaking through those walls, stepping outside, discovering that your potential is far more expansive than you ever imagined. The habits we've explored, from digital distraction to emotional suppression, from mindless comparison to fear of uncertainty, they're not just external behaviors. They're symptoms of a deeper disconnection. A disconnection from yourself, from your innate capacity to learn, to grow, to transform. Intelligence is about rebuilding that connection, one conscious choice at a time. Transformation is not a linear process. It's messy, unpredictable, filled with moments of doubt and breakthrough. Think of a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. The process is not elegant. It's a struggle, a breaking down of old structures to create something entirely new. Your journey of intelligence is exactly like this, a continuous process of breaking down and rebuilding. The world will try to convince you that intelligence is about accumulating information, about being right, about proving yourself. But true intelligence is about something far more profound. It's about developing the courage to be vulnerable, to admit what you don't know, to approach life with a sense of wonder and openness. Every person has a unique intelligence. It's not about competing or comparing. It's about understanding your own rhythm, your own way of perceiving and interacting with the world. Some people are logical and analytical. Others are deeply intuitive. Some learn through words, others through movement, through art, through connection. Your intelligence is your superpower. But like any superpower, it requires cultivation. It requires intention. It requires a willingness to step out of comfort, to challenge your own assumptions, to stay curious in a world that often rewards conformity. The most remarkable transformation happens in the spaces between what you know and what you're willing to explore. It happens in those moments of vulnerability, when you're brave enough to admit that you don't have all the answers. When you're willing to say, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming. If this story helped you see a part of yourself more clearly, leave a trace, a like, a comment, a decision to walk with us. Subscribe and let this space be part of your own healing. Let this be the beginning of a journey towards a more intelligent, more aware, more authentic version of yourself. Remember, intelligence is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about being willing to look at yourself with compassion, to understand your patterns, to choose growth over comfort. It's about developing a relationship with yourself that is based on curiosity, kindness, and continuous learning. Every day you have a choice. You can continue living on autopilot, trapped in old patterns, or you can choose to wake up, to become the architect of your own intelligence, to understand that your mind is not a fixed entity, but a living, breathing ecosystem that responds to how you nurture it. The most powerful words you can say to yourself are simple: I am learning. I am growing. I am becoming. These are not just words. They are a declaration of your infinite potential. They are a commitment to yourself, to continuous growth, to a life lived with intention, awareness, and deep, transformative intelligence. Your journey of intelligence is uniquely yours. It cannot be measured by external standards. It can only be felt, experienced, lived. It's about the quality of your attention, the depth of your awareness, the courage of your vulnerability. It's about understanding that you are not defined by your past, but by your capacity to learn, to change, to become. As you move forward, carry this understanding with you. Intelligence is not something you achieve. It's something you live. It's a moment-by-moment choice to stay curious, to stay open, to stay committed to your own growth. It's about understanding that your potential is limitless, that every moment is an opportunity to become more fully yourself.